And here we go with the last activity, activity 3 of our week 11 assignment guide. Remember, this is our first week of customized design number 2. We're doing design review. Our goal in this activity is to create a mass model. That's what you see right here. There's not much detail, but it shows the layout, shows the look, shows the feel. No real details at all at this point. We'll add some details next week in the next part. Okay, but it gives somebody the idea and it annotates it so that we know that the specifications have been met. So, in other words, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colored stars, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colored stars. So I'm doing this one right here. I created a simple mass model. I chose SketchUp. It's all you see here are rectangles, circles, some arcs, rectangles, circles, arcs, press pulled up a little bit. The tiny houses are rectangles. This is a triangle, but it basically made out of a rectangle. And so you can see there's enough detail so that we can see the general layout and what's going to happen, and that the specifications are being met, and that that it's going to meet the theme. How am I presenting the theme? So in this, the theme is that you can't make grass grow by pulling on it. So you just have to let it be natural. You have to fertilize it, let it grow, give it the space and the nutrients that it needs. And so this common area is meant to do that. It's meant to be fairly open, allow things to happen at their own pace, and we signify the growth by starting with a small patch of lawn that's a little bit low, and then each of the planters getting a little bit higher. And of course, these plants, because we're supposed to be drought tolerant, would be filled with drought tolerant plants just to give it some greenery. And even this low area can be made with drought tolerant grasses. There are some really interesting ground cover vines that are very drought tolerant. So I think in the detailed portion later on you could do it. I've made a note that this is about 900 square feet. It's about 40 foot in diameter. Now you could make it square, you could make it triangular. You know, there's 3 tiny houses. Maybe you want to make it triangular, so each tiny house opens up onto one side of the triangle. You can use any shape there that you want, but I suggest that they be simple shapes if you can. I haven't talked about the border, but I did say that it's about 3 inches higher than the rest of this graded zone that you see, and that it's decomposed granite surface. And then you can't really see it, but these are brick, and this is some cooking area right here with the shade over it. And there's a community fire pit that will comfortably fit 6, and that these drought tolerant plants in the planters are signified as they're just getting a little taller, a little taller, a little taller. So this is what I mean by a mass model. Very little detail, but enough so that somebody could start working on a more detailed version. Now, we don't have time to do the details for all of these. Next week, we're going to pick one aspect, and you're going to work on a far more complex model for it, either for the cooking area, the eating area, seating, structure, or drought tolerant area. And there's a lot of design and details and thought that can be put into that. But this is what I'm looking for week 1, our slide 11. Okay. Aspects of your design that you will develop further next week. Okay. So there we go. And again, just to call out, I am using mostly blocks and cylinders. You can use some other shapes if they meet your needs. And then the presentation, notice how I've got 2/3 taken up over here with my presentation and about 1/3 over here. Now you could even make this a little bit smaller if you wanted to, but I did about a 2/3 of the page being descriptive images, visuals, and 1/3 being some of my table work. And then notice that even the 2/3 portion has been broken up into 2/3, 1/3. It's a very common way, and so I can suggest you do something like that. This top one is the largest, the most expressive, and it lets me really understand the overall design the most. And then I put some close-ups of certain segments that I wanted to be able to show just a little bit more detail on. And I chose a style for these, probably not the best style. When I look at this from the point of view of accessibility, can somebody read that who has vision problems? These would probably need to be readjusted to have a slightly different, probably closer to that, so there's more contrast between those. And then if these can fit as a bold, that would give the best contrast, so that when we talk about people being able to see this and read it easily, we want to be as accessible as possible in our presentations. And that's just good presentation style. So there we go. So I've done a little bit of work to make this a little bit easier to see. Now there's a few other things as I might want to, as I said before, put some options in here and put some drop shadows on these. So those get some drop shadows. And then there's a few other things that can be done. I think this one probably needs to go bold also. Yep. That one needs to go bold. And then there's another good thing that you can do if you can think about doing it. Images, if somebody's having a hard time seeing it, they might want to see the text description of this. And that's called alt text. So if you really want to be doing some of this, this is my AMUL, Foster Youth Support Project Common Area Design. And then I could give it a much longer description. So this design shows, what does it show? Presents, not shows, sorry. Outdoor cooking, eating, and etc. You could keep going and give it a nice description. And that way, if somebody had a little bit of a trouble seeing this, they could easily put the Google Slide, or Grackle is one of the products that does this. They could read this with a reader that would give all that information. So these are good also. These can be made to be more accessible so that screen readers can read those too. This should be a title, which it is. This can be, probably doesn't have quite enough, let me see if I can get that there we go. Probably needs to have a little bit more, and I need to take this off. So something like that, where we're looking not at the border, I'm looking at the text. There we go. Our text color, it's pretty good, but probably needs to be one more to have enough contrast. So I know that you've all read that item and taken a look at it. I don't know that you can put a drop on the formatting for this. They don't give you that opportunity. So you don't have to worry about it on that. Okay. But those are some more little things that as you get better and better and better at doing this, I'm looking for more and more facility in doing it. So what might have taken you 2 hours when we first started this, I'm thinking will take you half an hour to an hour. So you should have more time to put more effort into making these more and more um, meeting more and more different standards and doing it in a more and more thorough way. Okay, so there we go. That is the end of your activity 3 for week 11.